listen to it when they get around to it. So
I appreciate you sending me the last one, Amanda. So
yeah, absolutely. Hopefully a couple people had watched it last time I checked, so that's good. Basically, I just wanted to get all of our coaching staff together so we can talk about an overall plan for the society. So bear with me, we have to go through some sort of tedious stuff, but please unmute yourselves and jump in whenever you have a question. I'll try to go sort of quickly through the boring stuff. So first thing, the coaches that I know of, the certified CMOs I've listed here. If I've missed anybody, let me know. And we're gonna have senior referees who will also be coaching for us. It's no problem. I mean, getting the title of CMO from World Rugby is just basically ticking a box. We have plenty of people who are good coaches without having that certification. So we will be using them.
is it possible to get a CMO course nearby? I mean, I think the only one I've seen was in Mobile, Alabama.
You know, that's the one that like you can always count on every year. They're going to do one there. We've tossed around the idea of having one, and what we probably should do is get up with our neighbors in Virginia and see if they have any need for it. The courses end up being a little bit expensive to host, and they especially like them to be around big tournaments, so that like you can get your CMO certification and then go out and coach. But I will say this too. You know, if you're out there in the field coaching, John is not going to balk at sending you somewhere to get your CMO course. So if that's something that's on your radar that you definitely want to do, then let me know. And then we both just need to keep our eyes peeled for where the next course is.
Well,
but yeah,
I definitely would like to try and get to one if possible.
And did that date for this year's battleship work for you?
What is the date? I don't remember now.
Yeah, I think it's always in November, but I'm not sure off the top of my head. I looked it up earlier and I didn't commit it to memory, but
yeah,
let's take a look at that and see if we can get you there if it works. So, and the same goes for anybody else. We'll work on that. Let's see. I don't know about this chat. Somebody's chatting, and I don't know if I can see it or not. Okay. Well, jump in and speak because the chat thing's not opening for me. Let's see. So this was just what we went over before our how we're assigning coaches to people. Basically, we want to look at coaching our C3 and C4 referees. That's our first priority, is getting that level of referee sort of up to C2. And once we have everybody functioning as C2 refs, we'll sort of reevaluate our program and our goals. New referee support for the first 2 matches is something we want to commit to as a program. Nobody goes to the pitch alone. And then just priority, if you've been a referee less than 5 years, we will prioritize you over someone who's been in our program for 10 years, thinking, you know, you probably need more help. 50% availability. So if you tell Nigel you're only available one weekend, we're not going to prioritize coaching for you. Sorry, we don't have the manpower to do that. And then people who are self-identified for promotion. So anyone who raises their hand and says, hey, Dave and Amanda, I need my promotion. So that's that. Next thing, deliverables. This program, what I'm promising you that we will do this year, which is the pre-season learning module. We already did that. Coaching calibration meeting, we're doing that right now. Anybody who gets a match in Advantage and does that work, I absolutely will find someone in the United States to coach you. Every match that every one of our referees gets, we commit to that. And then if we have a tournament with more than 6 refs, we're going to have a referee coach there. So that's that. This is just a quote from Emily Shea. Did a really nice thing at the NDS about referee coaching, or I guess it was more about referee development in general. And this was just a quote that came from her thing. So let that sink in a minute. Okay, referee development and expansion of our program, looking into the future. And I would ask you guys to help with any of these things if you are willing and able. The first thing is I would like to have some sort of feedback system so that the referees are able to report in on the coaches and the coaching they're receiving. Regular online meetings is a goal. We've done really well right out of the gate having these 2, but I need ideas and I need help with content. And then finally, setting up CMO exchanges and doing more of that sort of thing is on our radar for the future. So that is stuff about our program. So coaching philosophy, I went through this big thing this weekend and I was thinking, what do we want to do? What do we want to do? And I came up with this really clinical explanation of like what I think referee coaching is. And Richard laughed me off of the text message. And then he called me and was like, what are you trying to do? And he was like, you need to motivate these people. What you said is not motivating. So at the end of the day, our coaching philosophy for SERRS, like we want it to be fun and we want it to be positive. We want our referees to be the best in the United States. And like, what's our motivation or where are we coming from? I mean, for me and probably for a lot of you, it's so that we stay involved in the game that we love. So let's focus on doing that together and doing the best that we can at it. Coaching logistics. Probably everybody knows the plan, but basically what happens is you will look on our assignment spreadsheet and you'll see your name next to the referee. It is your responsibility to check and see when you're assigned, just like it is when you referee. Let's see, the referee should send you the game details when they receive them. I think that's Tuesday. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong there.
It's Wednesday.
Oh, is it Wednesday? Okay,
yeah.
Thank you. I don't often receive game details anymore. So yes, so on Wednesday, they should have their game details and they should get in touch with you and let you know where the game is and the time and all that stuff. At that time, you as the referee coach should just reach out and say, hey, what are your goals for the weekend? They may not get back to you. So if you don't get a response, it's okay. The relationship, the coaching referee relationship is referee driven. They don't want to do goals and you've asked once or twice, like you don't need to poke and prod and force that. So pre-match prep, you want to make sure you're up to date on your laws. If you have any questions about laws, then you know how to do your homework. Next thing, you want to have your tools. If you have a set of radios, make sure you charge those. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just going to mute everybody there. Maybe I can't. Can everybody just make sure they're muted?
I still hear you.
Yeah, but can you mute? Oh, wait, here, I can do it this way. All right, we're good. We're getting a lot of feedback from somebody, so. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Oh, right, so your tools, if you have radios, make sure that you charge them, have everything ready. Okay, are you guys? Yeah, all right. Sorry, I'm messing around with the controls because now I hear absolutely nothing, but I think we're still good. Okay. Laws, know your laws, have your tools ready, your radios, your clipboard, your pens, your pencils, your waterproof paper, whatever it is you need to go and referee coach. Make sure you've checked the weather and make sure you have all the venue information from your referee so that you know where you're going and all of that good stuff. Moving along to goals. Goals are hard for people. So when you ask the referee for goals, and understand if they're C3 or C4 referee, the goals that you're going to get are probably not going to be great. But remember, this relationship is referee driven. So we want to work with them to make goals that are smart, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, time-driven. Referees may need help refining their goals. So the whole process of goal setting makes some referees feel very uncomfortable and very pressured. So try to understand that when you're going through this process with them. Try to help the referee see goal setting as an opportunity for growth and, help them understand they should sort of embrace the discomfort here. People who are particularly type A and perfectionist type people, I've noticed have the most trouble setting goals, which is sort of funny. But a few questions that I have found help out in goal setting is to ask about what issues they're having or what issues they're trying to fix, and then use that and the answers to those questions to sort of help and refine the goals. Another really good question is just, what measurable do you want me to look for as I watch your match, or what should I be looking for? What notes can I take for you? That sort of thing. Does anybody have questions about goal setting? I don't want to do too much on it, but I just did want to cover it a little bit. All good? Yep.
I have a question.
Sure.
This is Joe.
Yeah, hey, Joe.
For a C4 or a C3, that they could definitely be in a situation of they don't know what they don't know.
Right.
Especially for somebody I guess like your first deliverable, your first deliverable was like you'll never go to the pitch alone kind of thing for the first two matches. At that point, they're there like, don't get killed.
Yeah, so their goals should really be whistle, signal, talk, and general safety goals. You know, if you can
is
steer them in that direction.
Is there a level, like, to achieve C3, you should be able to hit these marks kind of thing? Yes.
Yep, that exists. It currently exists in the old form from the performance reviewer days. So I can certainly dredge up that document and send it to you guys. The other thing I've been working on and off in my free time is trying to sort of organize the competencies in a way that makes sense for different grade levels up to C1. So that's sort of helpful so that I can share both of those things with the group. Any other questions? Cool. All right, match day. Remember that the process of being reviewed can be stressful. I don't think of myself as like an intimidating person, but I get that feedback all the time that referees are stressed and that the whole entire process of referee coaching sort of puts them under stress. So you as a referee coach need to approach this day. Your goal is to help reduce the stress on the referee. So some things to do: dress professionally, a society polo or a t-shirt if you have one, preferably. Be punctual. That's really important. Some referees, it totally throws them off their game if they're constantly looking for you or waiting for you to show up. It causes stress. We don't want stressed referees. When you do show up at the pitch, make it a priority to greet the referee and just offer to assist with anything that can help them. Like, I don't know, need me to fill your water bottle, whatever comes to mind. Just try to be helpful and nice. Yes, be nice. Don't be a know-it-all. Any thoughts about match day and arrival? We're probably all pretty good there. During the match, this is a big one. Be aware of your surroundings. So there's a whole entire sideline full of people who can see you. As you start going out to these matches more and more, and as people become more aware of SERRS, they now know that we have referee coaches. People will try to engage you in dialogue about the referee's performance. That's hard. You need to be kind to those people because we want to put on a nice face for the referee society, but we also don't want to engage in any sort of disparaging conversation about the referee's performance. I realize this should go without saying, but I see it happen time and time again with management people on the sidelines or referees who are watching matches. Something we should really try to nip in the bud. You don't have to be overly supportive of the referee. Like, don't try to convince somebody they're doing a great job if they're not. But it's fine to say this is a newer referee, or these are the things that we're working on. You can deflect those questions usually pretty well with a statement that's something like, you know, his view on the pitch is much different than my view or your view from the sideline. So those are just some things. Also, be aware of just disparaging gestures or things that you might say sort of under your breath that someone else could pick up on, anything like that. You just want to try and be supportive without being, you know, over the top there. Let's see, at halftime is a big thing for referee coaches. They like to go out on the pitch. I don't recommend that. It's not about you. If you have water for the referee, feel free to take the water to the referee. I do not think that halftime is for coaching, and I think for us as coaches, we should just agree that there's probably nothing great that you're going to say during halftime that's going to change the course of a referee's match. So unless there's a safety concern, and I mean a big safety concern, coaching is best left for after the match. This is a quote that I received from a referee after Saranac. This referee was out there. He was very, very stressed out. It was really obvious that he was, you know, putting himself in a hole. He was calling all kinds of penalties, and he was running around, you know, stressed. And Greg Gilliam and I were standing on the sideline, and the referee was missing a lot of stuff. He was a newer ref, and it's to be expected, but that still shouldn't put stress on him that we're standing there watching. So anyway, at halftime, he came over and he's like, "Oh my gosh, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? How am I doing?" And Greg and I were both like, "Man, you're killing it. Like, you're doing so great. It's wonderful. Don't even worry about it." And he went back on the pitch, and he had a second half that was just twice as good as what he had been doing in the first half. And then after Saranac, this is part of the email that he sent us. So I do think it makes a difference. I can't tell you how many times I've said something at halftime, had it totally backfire, and referees will give you feedback on that after the match. Like, you know, what you said at halftime totally threw me off my game. Getting this kind of email feels so much better than getting the "you threw me off my game" email. So unless there's a major safety concern, don't coach at halftime. All right, after the match, now things are winding down. The referee comes off the pitch, just let them know, you know, I've got some notes to write up. I'm going to be right over here in my red chair. You cool down. When you're ready, come to me. That sort of helps them know that they're the priority and they don't have to attend to you until they're ready. Just the basics, keep the debrief short and simple at the pitch. I mean, if it takes 10 minutes, that's perfect and you've done your job. You don't have to rehash the whole match. Let the referee lead the discussion. The goal really is self-discovery, and this is something that coaches struggle with a lot because we know everything and it's in our brains and we want to tell the referee all of those things. None of that helps the referee. So step back, let the referee talk, answer questions that the referee has if they ask them. Don't interrupt them as they're speaking, that kind of thing. Let's see. What else? If you don't know the answer to something, it's okay to say that you don't know the answer. And that's just going to be our philosophy in SERRS from here on out. If you don't know, that's cool. Referees don't know everything. Referee coaches don't know everything. Referee manager of the United States doesn't know everything. I guarantee you the referee manager of World Rugby doesn't know everything. So let's just all let it go and learn and grow and get better together. At the end of the coaching session, thank the referee for letting you coach them. That is just the nicest thing you can do. Here we have Cobber coaching Kat. Take a look at Kat's body language. What do we notice? Kat's closed up. So whatever Cobber's telling her, she's not liking. If we pay attention to the referee as we're speaking to them, it can make a world of difference. Be open and be relaxed. Don't sit or stand when the referee is sitting. Try to be at their level so they're not looking up to you. Take your glasses off. Take your hat off so they can see your eyes. Smile, be reassuring, and most of all, listen to them. Does anybody have comments about that stuff? I take your silence as you agree with me. 2 types of feedback. Positive feedback that is helpful and can be internalized and used to make you better, and negative or destructive feedback. And I know we got a couple referees on the call here, a bunch of people who actively ref, so somebody jump in if they can give me an example of either type of feedback. Joe, I know you're there.
Oh, so like I guess a positive feedback would be not necessarily just saying you did a good job,
Mm-hmm.
but it would be broadening of horizons as well. Like,
Okay.
that was that was great. Or if the referee has an idea, giving them multiple ways to think about it. Like, list two ways to think about it, as opposed to here's the way that I'm going to do it, which I guess would be a negative way, like a closed-minded way. Only do it my way, as opposed to here are multiple ways something can be used.
Sure. I also think negative feedback is when you tell somebody that they're doing it wrong. Whereas if you can say, at this one scrum, you did this, and that's right. Now at the other 19 scrums, you might not have done it right. But at this one scrum, you did this thing exactly right. So now take that, and next game, you're going to do it at 4 scrums. And the next game, you're going to do it at 10 scrums. And, someday it's going to be all 20 scrums. So, think about how we can use the things that they're doing well and then build on those. So, anybody else have any feedback there?
I was just going to say, as far as negative feedback goes, it can also have a lot to do with how you word something. So if you ask a referee after the game, how did you feel about the rucks? That's a lot different than why do you think the rucks went so badly out there today?
Yes, I would agree. Absolutely. And it's hard to learn to speak that way, but you're 100% correct. I will say this, I've never regretted something I've not said, but I have absolutely wished I could take something back that I have said. So let the referee talk, and you will find ways to direct them while they're speaking without ever having to say things yourself. So these are just 2 more quotes from the survey that Emily Shea did for the NDS. And if you read these, they're pretty tough. You realize the impact that a referee coach or a performance reviewer can have on somebody. And I wish that these were one-offs, but I cannot tell you how many referees I have talked to who have similar stories. So when we are thinking about what we do, it's important. And doing it in a positive way is important. All right, coaching reports. For us, for SERRS, they are due the Wednesday after the match. You are reimbursed at the same rate as the referee, assuming your travel, doesn't add to your reimbursement rate. Excuse me. And then we're asking you guys to be using the USAR template, which is the report that Kaber has used, or that we've used since Kaber was CMO, head of RDO program here. So everybody should be familiar with that. We may switch over to something online because some other societies are using an online template and it seems to be going very well. I've seen 2 that I like, but I haven't found anything that I've fallen in love with yet. So that's why I've hesitated to switch. It's on the horizon. That's that. Does anybody have questions about reimbursement reports? Written reports are really important. It helps people remember the stuff that was said at the sideline.
Are we still just copying Bill on the email when we send you the report to let him know about the reimbursement situation?
Does he reimburse people right after the matches? I have always just kept track of my stuff throughout the season, and then I send him basically an invoice at the end of the season and let him know, hey, you owe me for this many matches.
Okay, that works too.
Amanda,
Yeah.
is there a way to read, so say you're about to go do a ref coaching for somebody this Saturday, is there a way to read their back history, or are we reliant upon the referee to tell them what they would like to work on?
At the moment, I would say we're reliant on the referee because we have not used one online housing place for SERRS. I mean, they were in one place when Cobb was doing it, another place when someone else was doing it. Tevis took it over. They were in one place while Tev was on it. I don't know if things even got warehoused when Dulski was doing the job. What I can do is dump the stuff that I have into Dropbox and invite everybody else to dump anything they have into Dropbox so that you would be able to view those things. And we can also say, like, from here on out, we'll archive stuff. But beyond doing that, I don't have any great ideas. If someone else does, jump in. So, yeah, sometimes if you just...
I guess as we go towards Advantage more and more, you can just write your own in there with all the comments and everything, and it'll be online that way. But I guess we'll wait. It's okay.
Yeah, you could, but you won't have video to go with it, so I don't know. Yeah, and you can always just ask the referee if they have any older coaching reports that they would want you to read. So sometimes that gets you something. All right, I think that's all on that subject. All right, the next thing I wanted to just take a few minutes to talk about referee coaching as a whole. This is something that came up in the WPL, and this is a clip of Amelia Luciano, and she's doing the Amazons against somebody, but I'm not sure. Beantown, maybe. So let's watch this clip, and you were going to be watching the scrum, obviously. So in her whole entire match, Amelia was having that problem. See the front row? Boom. So we've got the Zons front row driving up. And she didn't recognize it. It was happening over and over throughout the match. Okay. So what I want to talk about is just telling the entire story. So over here at 10:07, the referee coach talks about the Amazons team gains dominance in the scrum and it turns. Players get rolled under. So what he's talking about there was just one of the times the scrum, they were driving up in the scrum. And then here at the bottom, he sort of mentioned it in his report. So one of the things that we want to make sure that we do is that we're taking good enough notes that we can tell the referee what time in the match something happened. We want to make sure that the things we're mentioning, that we actually have multiple examples. It doesn't mean we have multiple examples of them like missing the same thing per se, because that's not really what we're trying to get to. Okay, you missed this. Yes, so what? More like you create the complete picture. So the reason, if we go back, if you watch Amelia's movement, this is the real answer, and this is the part that wasn't told to her. Watch her head and where her body's looking. She really has no chance to ever see the front rows. So that's the whole story, right? It's not about Amelia missing the Zons driving up. It's not that she's not capable of identifying it. When we really step back, okay, so the referee missed a forward pass. Same thing. Why did they miss the forward pass? Because they weren't in a position to see the forward pass. And that's the whole story, and that's what needs to go into the report. Hey, I numbered wrong. Look at that. 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. That's good. And the whole story at the end of the day is that Amelia needs to look at how she analyzes the scrum. And the final piece of the story is the referee coach being able to say, here's how you should move at the scrum, and here's a picture of a referee doing it correctly. And if we're able to build our reports like that, then we'll help people grow. Here we see, I just dug this up. Here's Scott. See his movement's completely different. As he backs out, he can see the front row still. So if Amelia works on that, changing her movement in that little way, she may see a completely different outcome. Does anybody have comments about that, or what I mean by like telling the whole story? This is sort of my philosophy of referee coaching. So it's not about missing one thing, it's about why are they missing that thing, and then how do we build that story for them so that it makes sense and complete it with what they can change or what they think they can change in order to get better. Comments?
Amanda?
Yes. Yeah.
This is Alex.
Hello, Alex.
I've been trying to speak, but my speakers are ridiculous. Anyway, so from a referee's perspective, what you just said, I think is pretty critical because, you know, as you had described before, as the type A personality that I am, I'm already harsh on myself for the calls that I miss or things that I know that I should have called. But having a coach, and this has happened before, having a coach be able to say, yeah, you missed it. So what? What's the bigger picture?
Exactly.
Is so unbelievably helpful because then it takes the pressure off of me as a referee to say, dang it, I screwed that up. And it says, hey, it doesn't matter that you missed the one thing, you know, either take that step back and see globally, what are we missing? For this instance, the scrum is get your positioning right, get your vision right, and then you're not going to have that problem. And you're just, right. And in her example, like she's clearly watching the ball to make sure that the ball isn't messed up in any other way, that the scrum half's not offside. So it's not like she's missing something else or not doing something correctly. She's just not doing, you know, all parts of it correctly. Mm-hmm. And that to me as a referee was so helpful to say, yeah, you're missing one part of the whole puzzle, but that doesn't mean the puzzle's going to fall apart.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is, I think referees also don't realize the amount of stress that you're under during the game. And if you start to realize what happens to your body when it's under stress and, you know, your brain is oxygen deprived, so your decision making can be poor, your peripheral vision actually narrows, so you're not even seeing all of the things that you need to see. And once you start to understand all of these little things, like take the pressure off of yourself because it's a hard job. There's all these things fighting against you. And the calmer you can be and the calmer the person you're working with can be, you can work through these things and it's just exposure. You're absolutely going to get better. Nobody's great when they start. These are all messages that we can deliver to these C3 and C4 referees who put themselves under immense pressure. So, anybody else have a comment? Cool. Let's see. Problem solving is hard. I think I must have deleted a slide or something. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. With the Scott Green clip here. So coming to this conclusion is difficult for the referee. You want to try to lead them there, but if you can't, then help them find the resource. You know, like I may have been able to help Amelia figure out possibly that she wasn't looking in the right place to see the front rows, but by showing her this example of how she can move differently, that, you know, that changes what she can now use this for like visualization so that she can correct those things or has something very specific and concrete to work on for the next match. So see if you can bring that last piece of the puzzle for your ref. And then finally, coaching different levels. This is a big discussion because we've got C3s, we've got C4s, we've got C2s, we've got C1s. Everybody has very different needs. So be level aware in your coaching and then give them the building blocks to success. And what I mean is we want to have all of our referees receiving the same message. From the first time they step on the pitch, they should know what position they're working towards and where they should be. If they're standing in the saddle, that's okay if it's working for them. One of the things we want to talk about is that they want to be on the 45. You know, it's something that they're working towards. That way, they don't get comfortable there or feel like they should be in that spot. We always want to be pushing them to be in the right position. And then they're never getting a mixed message. If you don't know what message you should be sending to the ref, just pick up the phone and call me and we will work through that. So we don't want to dumb down the message, but we also don't want to give too much high level stuff at once. So if you're working with a C3 or a C4 ref, you're going to be talking, you know, about positioning. You're going to be talking about your whistle and your signal. And really, if they're focusing on more than that stuff, then they're a prodigal child. We want to focus on the simple things first and then strengthen those things before we start talking about what they're missing at the breakdown. Yeah. That's about it. It's okay to not to know the answer. Foster that culture by living it. If you don't know, say so and go find out. And that's okay. I've given that answer to referees a million times over. They respect you more for saying, I really have no idea, but I know who to go ask, than if you just make something up and then they find out a year down the road that what you said was not true. So that's about it. We do, as a referee society, want to try and deliver as consistent a message as possible. But remember this, the very best in World Rugby only agree 70% of the time. So take a little pressure off yourself as a referee coach. You're not going to be right all the time. It's okay to not be right all the time. If you're right 70% of the time, you're doing a pretty good job. All right, that's all I've got for tonight. You guys have any comments? Questions? Everybody's happy?
I'm happy.
Okay.
About this presentation, I'm happy, but not about other things.
Okay, well, if I can help you with any of those things, let me know.
No, we're good.
Okay, cool. All right, you guys, thanks for taking the time out of your day to show up. And if you think of anything after this, just let me know. I'm going to sign off now. Have a good night.
Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you.